Welcome to my street front garden. This is 200 feet of native plants. Come on, I'll show you. So my street front goes from just over here all the way down to the mailbox that you might see in the distance there. Pine tree and a mailbox. So that's all my street front. And along this street front I have planted almost exclusively locally native plants. Come on, let's take a look. I've been working on this street front area for 4 years. I started with this section right here behind me 4 years ago. This is just a little bit of space between the road and my driveway. I call it the hell spot. In lots of urban settings, usually people have a place between their sidewalk and the road that's like the hell strip. It's hard to get things to grow there. This was mine, my hell spot, and I started here about 4 years ago. Since then, I've been trying to fill in the rest of the 200 feet. There's a bit of a hill, and honestly, I hated mowing it, and I love native plants, so I figured this was the best of both worlds. I don't have to mow it, and the native plants are great for the ecosystem, and they don't take a whole lot of work. I don't have to water them extra or anything. So let me show you what this garden is like, and then I think we're gonna plant some today. Come on. I'm all the way down here at the west end of the street. My street runs from west to south, sort of at a diagonal. So this whole area, this whole street front gets really good sun. Right here by the fire hydrant, I've only just started to plant some things. I have a variety of pussy toes down here. We have a beautiful eastern white pine and a sugar maple behind it. But this area in particular is very dry, right up next to the tree. This whole area along this section of the street front, we had put in some shrubs. Those are not native. Those are dwarf cypress, I believe, Hinoki dwarf cypress. Other than that, the plants I have here are native plants. So this is little blue stem. The grassy textures that you see here are all little blue stem. And then I have a swath of butterfly weed. That's the Asclepias incanum, I believe. And I also have prairie thistle. Those are the tall stalks that you see. And showy goldenrod. Solidago speciosa, I think. There's the prairie thistle. Solidago speciosa. Butterfly weed. Asclepias incanum. Here's some more prairie thistle. Hasn't sent up a stalk yet, but that'll have a good stalk for next year. Some more speciosa, goldenrod, showy goldenrod. Look, I just love this. This is little blue stem. So there's a lot of room in here to put more plants. This area does stay a bit more dry. I don't add any supplemental water to it. So anything down here needs to like hot and dry. I think I have some smooth aster that I'm gonna put down here this year. Okay, so there's the area we were just talking about a moment ago. And this is the edge of my driveway. Lots of space here to fill in more plants. This big one is one that came with the house. This is some sort of juniper. Now there are a lot of native juniper species, I don't know that this is one of them. But it's here and it's giant, and honestly, it's not going anywhere. Look at that thing. But I have lots of space down here on the corner to fill in. I probably will leave a little path up and down here, but lots of space here. Again, this is sort of a dry, sunny area. So this is a really great view of this hell spot. Okay, right here. So here's the driveway and there's the road, and there was just this hill of grass. And honestly, the grass didn't live its life. It was really just too hot and dry here in between the two sets of pavement. So this is where I started planting plants. And this is one of the first native plants that I planted down here. This is Solomon seal. I found some growing at the back of the property, and I dug it up and moved it to a variety of places, this being one of them. And it really does like it here. I actually want to take this clump, separate it, and then put it along here in the driveway. It likes things a little more shady, and it does get pretty good shade from this red cedar. So it gets good shade here. The sun in the afternoon comes in from down the street, and this gets blasted with hot afternoon sun. The closer you get here to the red cedar though, the more shade you get. The second plant that I planted down here was, I think this is Canada goldenrod. I need to learn how to ID my goldenrods better. But I found this in the back of the yard, and dug it up, and moved it out here, out front. It was about 7 or 8 plants, and of course, it does what it does. Let me get you over here. It does what it does and spreads out. It's not too aggressive here because it does get a lot of shade and it stays fairly dry. This one is lance leaf coreopsis. I don't think this one is strictly locally native, but it's native to the area. And it is doing a good job seeding itself around. I had originally planted it right in here, and it's kind of seeded itself up that way. This is one of my favorites. This is sweet fern, Comptonia, I think. Oh, it just smells so nice. It's a shrub. It's a deciduous shrub, and it really does like it here. It likes things drier, so it's starting to spread out. The original plant, I think, is this one here. You can tell it's a little bigger than the other ones. And then the other sort of anchor plant I put in here is this beauty. This is our native cactus, Eastern prickly pear cactus. And it's doing great down here. Initially it was just a patch right in here, and it's just weaving its way back in there. I love it. I've added some other things in here. This is tall cinquefoil, I think. These are butterfly weed. This is a grass leaf goldenrod. We have some yarrow. I just planted some more yarrow the other day. Threadleaf coreopsis. This one, oh, look at this plant. Look at it. This is the smooth aster. So I have more of this. I mentioned I wanted to plant over in the west section. Look at the beautiful color on the leaves. Oh gosh. And they are typically sort of a glossy, sagey green the leaves. All right. This one, this is New England aster in its fall color and seed heads. I have a volunteer dogwood. I may or may not let that stay. This is steeple bush. Again, this is a shrub. Steeple bush, tomentosa, Spirea tomentosa. And this beauty right here, this is a hardy geranium, a native geranium, Carolina cranesbill. You can see it's little curlicue seed heads there. I need to plant some more of this down here. Need to collect some seeds. Look, there's my new yarrow. Coming along nicely. And these seed heads are from one of my all-time favorites. This is spotted bee balm, Monarda punctata. And a good bit of space right in here. So still plenty of room. Come over here. Still plenty of room for some things in here. It does get pretty good sun right in here, as you can see as the sun comes in. All right, it's got some good sun in here. A little further up the hill, it's a little shadier. It doesn't get a lot of sun in there at all, but right here it does. So I've got some dry loving things that will go right in here, I believe. But this is how I would like this area planted up. Okay, densely packed with a variety of plants that are allowed to spread themselves. A couple of shrubs to keep things anchored, and otherwise I'll just let it go to town. I would like to keep the cactus a little better weeded. A lot of this grass leaf goldenrod I might pull from there just to keep that a little bit more open. But editing is part of what we do as gardeners, right? All right, oh, one more. This one's an echinacea. This is Echinacea purpurea. It is not locally native, but I've got it planted down here too. Native to the prairies, the mid-country prairies. All right, coming along. So right under here I have done nothing with. So there's lots of room. This is, you can see pretty much what this is. We get sun blasting all day, this little front strip right here, and it stays fairly dry right in here. And then underneath it, we have more dry shade. And I just haven't started in on that yet. This is a white cedar. You can see that it's shedding a little. 'Tis the season. All right, right here, just up there, you can see the rocks and things there. That's a drain that we have draining from the house, so from the gutters from the house. So this area does get a bit more moisture, okay? No afternoon sun because of the big evergreens, but excellent morning and midday sun. And I've got a little path here on the side. And this area is one that I've just started to fill in. This is Penstemon digitalis, one of the two native penstemons that I have here. This is calico aster with its puffy little seed heads. This penstemon maintains its leaves throughout the winter, so it has stayed evergreen for me. Okay, and then this is Solidago odora, or scented goldenrod. showing its fall gorgeousness. And this is hoary wood mint, I think. Okay. And I just planted a little bit more echinacea up here the other day. The area over there by the drain does need a little bit more planting. So I'll be working on that. I'll be working on this area. All right. This is the southern section of the street front garden. This section here is full sun and fairly dry. Okay. And then this section down here is also full sun, but more moist. On the back side of this is my vegetable garden, so it does stay a little bit more moist out here. And I also do give it a little extra water because I know these plants like the moisture. So let's start with the dry section first. Hitting. Look at that. That is Sambuca canadensis. And that is Agastache. This is the giant blue hyssop. Smells so good. Glorious. Common milkweed. Butterfly weed. More of that. I do love its orange flowers. This is a bee balm. This is the lavender bee balm. Fistulosa. Monarda fistulosa. Got a beautiful patch with its rusty green color. This is Solidago rugosa, wrinkle leaf goldenrod, and it is really enjoying this spot. I am going to start editing this a little bit. That means pulling out some plants. This is a native St. John's wort. Punctata, I think. Spotted St. John's wort. I just put in some zizia. So I've got a couple of clumps of zizia down here. This is the zizia I put in last year. You can see it's bigger and more full. Eupatorium. This is bone set. What is the, I can't remember the variety's name here. This is a thistle. This is the swamp thistle. Got some seeds left. And we've got New York ironweed. More calico aster. More eupatorium. Eupatoria. Bone set. And those are the spiky bits of Verbena hastata. Blue verbena. Oh no, this is tall coreopsis. Tall coreopsis. And this, come back here. This is New York ironweed. New York ironweed. All right, coming down this way, I have large groupings or periodic groupings of the Penstemon digitalis because it does have a really nice leaf structure. And it does give you a sense of a difference from your tall prairie plants. You get a little bit of a different look. Look at those. Gosh. Love it. Okay. These plants that are sort of lime green in their fall foliage, those are buttonbush. So I do have a nice button bush hedge. I think I've got 7 here. And then I started planting some more Spirea tomatosa, I think. It's either Alba or tomatosa. I don't remember which one I put here. I think tomatosa. So those will create, like the one that you saw back there, sort of a shrubby grouping. And those will be in between each of the button bush. This is the seed head for lobelia. This is Lobelia syphilitica, blue lobelia. I also have some Alba, which is a natural variation in color. So instead of blue, it's white. Dogwood, volunteer dogwood. Probably not gonna let that stay. This is a smooth buckthorn. That's invasive. That's gonna come out. Look how pretty that is. All right, so here in the middle, and you can see I've got a lot of space to plant some things. And I do have some things. They're just really small. Perennials take a little time to grow big. Let's see if I can find some of the small growing ones. There we go. That's an Allegheny monkey flower. This is some more rugosa, Solidago rugosa, that has spread itself down this way. Penstemon digitalis. And this is what, some sort of aster. I don't remember which one this is. Pretty. These are the Hollinia autumnal, or sneezeweed seed heads, with the eupatorium, the bone set behind. Okay, and I planted a little bit more Zizia up here. That's the golden Alexander. And then I have a bit of a pathway here, and one of the plants that I'm going to plant. This is what Lobelia syphilitica looks like, and you can see I've got a white variation and a blue variation. That's those are naturally occurring variations there. And I'm going to put a bunch of those along in here. They do like a little bit more water, so I'm going to put them in this area down from the vegetable garden. Let's see if I can get that to stay put. There we go. All right, and we're back up here. This is a Bugelia, pink blooming, not a native, and it was here well before we owned the house. It's a beautiful shrub, giant, but that marks the end of the native plant garden. I should be able to plant something up underneath it at some point in the future, a little shady, something small, but as of yet, I haven't done that. So that's the tour. So now let's get to planting some things. All right, I've got plants laid out all along the street front, and I've got my auger drill thingy and a scoop, and we're gonna start with this Erigeron pulchellus. Down here we are at the house spot. Let's get planting. Erigeron pulchellus, or robin's plantain. It likes full sun or part sun, and I've seen it referenced anywhere from moist soil to dry soil. The place that I bought the seeds says it's medium dry to dry soil, so that's how I planted it in my garden. We'll see how it goes. It gets to be about 12 inches tall when it flowers. Blooming time is May and June. It has a very short window of flowering with white, sometimes sort of bluish tinged daisy-like flowers, and its leaves remain green throughout the season. It's good for ground cover as its basal leaves remain green even after it's flowered. It is native to my area in New England. It's also native broadly across much of the eastern half of the United States and into Canada. Its flowers attract a variety of pollinators, including bees, butterflies, and skippers. The caterpillars of several moths, including the lynx flower moth, obscure flower moth, common pug, and wavy-lined emerald, feed on the flowers. It likes to grow in disturbed habitats, in meadows and fields, in open woods, savannas, and stream banks. Erigeron pulchellus, right next to my cactus. So this one is Asclepias verticillata, or world milkweed. I have 2 of these. Clearly it's fall, but I'm just gonna pop these out and stick them in. I'm gonna go right in here. I've got 2, so I'm gonna make 2 holes. I'm not gonna divide this, I'm just gonna take it whole and stick it in the hole. Asclepias verticillata, or world milkweed. It is native to New England, or parts of New England anyway. Southern New England, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and 1 county in Vermont. It is more broadly native across the North American region, including as far west as the Rockies. Its habitats include cliffs, balds, ledges, ridges, and woodlands. This is the second one. Hello, how are you? Doing good. It'll also grow in dry fields, these are weeds, and prairies, also in sandy open woods and roadsides. Okay. It likes full sun or part shade and medium or medium dry soil. Just goes to show it doesn't matter what it looks like at the top. Nice roots is what you want. It gets to be about 2 feet tall, with white flowers blooming in July, August, and September. The nectar of the flower attracts insects including long and short-tongued bees, wasps, flies, butterflies, skippers, and beetles. It's also a larval host or caterpillar host for the monarch butterfly. And look, can't even see where I planted them. Isn't that fun? Okay, this is Tradescantia ohiensis, or Ohio spiderwort. I do have an established plant over there, but I'll show you that, but I'm gonna put this in the ground first. There's only 1, maybe 2 in here, so I don't think I need to dig too big a hole. I'm gonna put it right there. So I just put the world milkweed over here. This is a steeple bush, and I'm gonna put it just below that. Tradescantia ohiensis, or Ohio spiderwort. It's native to much of the eastern half of the United States, including up into Canada. There's some question as to whether or not it is actually native to New England or if it was introduced. I am including it in my garden regardless. Its habitats include disturbed sites, moist meadows, prairies, and thickets, woodland edges. It likes full sun or partial sun, medium wet to dry soil. It gets to be about 3 feet tall, with blue flowers blooming from May, June, and July. Each flower blooms only for 1 day. Look at that beauty. There we go. And each individual stalk will have a variety of flowers. It does hybridize with other types of Tradescantia pretty easily. At least 9 different species are thought to be able to hybridize with ohiensis. Something to be aware of. All right, it is right there. Right in this area in here. There is a nice sedge here, and there's a couple of other sedges. So I'm gonna try not to disturb the grassy things in here too much. But I've got two plants for down here. This is Pycnanthemum muticum, or clustered mountain mint. And this one is Monarda punctata, or dotted horse mint. I should be able to divide these a little bit. Let's see how it goes. We'll do the punctata first. Monarda punctata, or spotted bee balm. It is native to much of northeastern North America, but it is relatively rare in New England. It is native to Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Vermont. Oh, it smells so good. Okay, so I'm gonna have 4 clumps in the end. Maybe 4 clumps? Yes. It likes to grow in disturbed habitats, forest edges, meadows, and fields. And now the muticum. Pycnanthemum muticum, or clustered mountain mint. It is a native plant in my location in New England. It is also native to a broad swath of the east half of the United States. Its habitats include disturbed areas, cliffs, balds, ledges, meadows and fields, ridges, and woodlands. Yep. Maybe less clumps out of this. 1. There we go. We'll do 3. All right, 3 nice clumps. I think I'm just gonna mix it all together. So I've got 7 clumps. I'm gonna make 7 holes and see what happens. It'll take just about any conditions, wet or dry, sun or part shade. This plant will grow to about 3 feet tall. Its white blooms occur in July, August, and September. Start with a nice muticum. Apparently I didn't make that hole big enough. The blooms are fairly inconspicuous, but there are several petal-looking leaves that are very silvery that surround the clusters of blooms. It does have a wonderfully minty smell. It is high in nectar resources and attracts many different kinds of pollinators. Butterflies, moths, bees, wasps, flies, all of those kinds of pollinators will flock to this plant, including the gray hairstreak butterfly, the red banded hairstreak, the eastern-tailed blue, the spring azure, and the monarch. So far the tall one is the muticum, and then the other 2 are punctata. Do the muticum here. So I'll do another Monarda and another Monarda. So going back to discussing the Monarda punctata. It likes full sun and part shade, medium to dry soils. It gets to be about 2 feet tall and has a purple bloom that blooms July, August, and September. The blooms attract many butterflies and bumblebees, including the Carner blue butterfly. It is one of the host plants for the raspberry cyrosta butterfly. It attracts many different types of wasps, including many beneficial garden wasps that are predatory and control grubs and other pests. All right, let me see if I can see here to point out to you what we've got. Got 3 muticums, 1, 2, and 3. And then we have punctata, punctata, and punctata, and a punctata. We're down here. This is where the drain is for the gutters from the house. Okay, but this is still mostly dry, morning shade, okay? A little bit more moist on that side, a little drier over here. I've got Desmodium canadensis. This is showy tick trefoil. I'm gonna put it up the way a little bit. Like, it gets tall, so it'll go sort of towards the back. This is Agastache, giant blue hyssop, scrophulariifolia. I have no idea how to pronounce that. And it gets pretty tall, so it's gonna go towards the back too. I've got one on the other side, so it'll be kind of a matching pair. This is Baptisia australis, not locally native to me, but sort of in an adjacent region. It likes it moist, so it's gonna go right at the base of the gutter drain thing. And this is Solidago odora. That is what I've got here. So I'm gonna do more of it, probably just up the hill from that. And this is hairy woodmint, Blephilia hirsuta. Okay. And it's gonna go right in here where I have this other one. All right, I think I have them spaced where I want. Okay. All the way at the back, that's the, right there, Baptisia. And that's the Desmodium. And that's the other goldenrod. And then I've got the Agastache kind of behind that goldenrod. And then the mint, the wild mint down here. Downy mint, hairy wood mint. Baptisia australis, blue wild indigo. It's not thought to be native in New England. It's thought to be introduced here. It's more native to the mid-Atlantic region, middle section of eastern United States. It's found on riparian terraces, riverbanks, meadows, and fields. It likes full sun and will take some shade, medium to medium wet soil. It'll grow to 4 feet tall. It has blue blooms that occur in May, June, and July. It has a very shrubby habit, even though it's a perennial and it will die back every year. It's a fast grower once established, though. It has been used as a source of blue dye. Desmodium canadense, or showy tick trefoil. It is native here in New England. It's native across a broad swath of northern North America on the eastern side. Its habitats include floodplains, forest edges, forests, meadows and fields, and the shores of rivers and lakes. It likes full sun or some shade, medium wet to medium dry conditions. It grows to be about 5 feet tall. Its pink flowers bloom in July and August. The nectar, pollen, seeds, and foliage of this species appeal to a variety of insects, pollinators, birds, and mammals. Agastache scrophulariifolia, or purple giant hyssop. It's native to a wide area east of the Rockies and in the middle and northern sections of the United States. It's native in my location here in New England. Its habitats include floodplains, forest edges, talus and rocky slopes, rich woods, and thickets. Its growing conditions include sun and shade. It likes moist, rich soils. It will also take medium to dry soil. It grows from 3 to 6 feet tall. Its purple flowers bloom July, August, September, and October. It attracts a wide range of bees and butterflies due to its long bloom time and high nectar content. It supports the rusty-patched bumblebee, and it is known to be used medicinally. Solidago odora, or scented goldenrod. It's native to my area in New England. It's native to southern New England, the mid-Atlantic region, and the entire South United States, so all the way from the Atlantic to Texas. Its habitats include disturbed sites, prairies, meadows, fields, savannas, also pine forests and woodlands, particularly in drier or sandy areas. It likes sun or part shade and dry to average soil. It does not spread as readily as many other goldenrods, making it a good choice for a garden. It grows to about 3 feet tall, and its yellow blooms bloom August, September, and October. It's of special value to native bees and wasps, as well as butterflies. It attracts songbirds and is just a pollinator powerhouse plant. It's an excellent choice to increase the biodiversity in your yard. Its flowers and leaves have a long history of use medicinally. The crushed leaves give off a wonderful licorice scent. Remind me that I hate planting things on a hill. Since I'm down here. Look at that. All right. Let's see if she'll split for me. Yes. I think I can do those. Blephilia hirsuta, hairy woodmint. It's native to much of the middle and eastern United States, excluding Maine and Florida. Oh, my drill's gonna die. Come on, my drill. Oh, bummer. So close. Okay. Its habitats include cliffs, balds, ledges, floodplains, shores, forests, meadows and fields, savannas and prairies. All right. A new battery sure makes a difference, doesn't it? It likes partial sun to shade and wet to medium soil. It grows to be about 3 feet tall with white blooms, blooming from June, July, August, and September. It supports a variety of different pollinators, including bees, native bees, bee-looking like flies or cirriphids, butterflies, and wasps. The flowers are pollinated primarily by long-tongued bees. So carpenter bees, mason bees, leaf-cutting bees. It's possible the location I'm putting it here will be too dry or too sunny, but I do have another plant here that seems to be doing fine, so I figured I'd give a shot putting some more down here. All right, that's, I don't think I'm halfway through yet, but it's time to take a break and have some lunch and some water. This might be a two-day project here. So, planted a bunch of plants at the in the house strips, kind of filling that area out some more. And then right here next to me, I haven't had a lot here, down on the side of the pathway over here. So some of this echoes what I've got on the other side of the pathway, which is kind of nice. I've got a bunch of things down there towards the south end, and a bunch of things all the way down to the west. So see you in a minute.